You might watch professional athletes on TV and think, oh, if I didn't work full time, I could do that. And you know what? Behave. We couldn't. No, we couldn't. But working full time does present a certain set of hard truths to us mere mortal runners. And the good thing is, there are solutions if you want them. And hard truth number one, perhaps quite a hard pill to swallow, is that if you want to make running happen all of the time and be disciplined, you have to shut off your emotion. You cannot come home from work when you've had a tough day, you're tired, you're stressed, and let emotion make that decision, because we all know what's going to happen. You're probably not going to go and run. So I see it as my sliding doors moment. If I came in and let emotion rule, it's game over. If I turn off my emotion and become an emotionless robot, which by the way Mary loves, maybe not, but just when it comes to running, if I turn that emotion off and then I go straight upstairs, I get changed, I'm still not thinking, this is discipline. I put my clothes on, I turn around, I come outside, and I have not let any of that emotion get into my head. And Dr. Steve Peters, who wrote the book The Chimp Paradox, calls it trying not to arm wrestle the chimp. We have our human side, we have our chimp side. The chimp is emotional, the human is logical and rational. And if we can not arm wrestle the chimp, because you would lose every time, but if you can convince the chimp, the emotional side of your brain, that it's going to be okay, you're going to feel better after this, it's okay, you won't be gone for long, chances are you get out the door, you get the run done, and you feel so much better for it. But it all starts with shutting off the emotion and just making it happen anyway, which is essentially discipline. Doing what you love and what you hate with the same passion regardless. Just when we come into the recovery phase, it's quite appropriate really, because the recovery is key. Because one of the hard truths about training with a full-time job is that sleep is not just essential, it is just essential. If you don't get enough sleep when you are training as hard as we train, when you are working with that, look at Mary yawn, I just caught her yawning there, is if you don't get enough sleep, you don't recover appropriately from the training and the workload that you're going under. And then if that compounds, if lack of sleep is day after day after day, sessions go down in quality, injury risk gets higher because you get tired, your body is just not coping with the load that you're placing it under. Yeah. So really, when you have that extra hour at night and you're like, oh, I could watch this TV program or sleep, what do? Sleep. And really, if you have an opportunity to go for a night out, or you could come home early and sleep, what do? Sleep. Even though Mary hates that. Mary hates that. But we come home. I like going out, but I'm training for a marathon, and I know that the only way I'm going to navigate it whilst doing a really busy job is with good quality sleep. So don't scrimp on it. It is a hard truth, because some people like to just, if they work, then have that time in the evening to themselves. But the best time you can spend if you're training hard for anything is in bed, asleep, recovering. I think one of the other hard truths that maybe people struggle to accept is the job you do will affect your running in different ways, and we need to appreciate it rather than ignore it. So if you have a sedentary job, maybe sitting in an office, that's going to affect you in that way. Whereas maybe if you have a really active job where you're out on your feet all of the day, that's going to affect you in that way. And there are numerous things that within your day you have to be aware of. For example, I'm a PE teacher. I'm on my feet nearly all of the time, every single day. So I'm getting in a tremendous amount of steps before I even begin my run. And I have to factor that into my overall training. It's unbelievable how much more volume I can absorb when I'm in the school holidays in comparison to when I'm in school time. Because I'm just not getting 10, 11, 12,000 steps in before I even started my run. So when we're building a plan, when we're building a running program, we have to factor in what are the limiters within our job or the potential pitfalls. If you are sedentary, you might need a longer warm-up. If you've been on your feet all day, maybe you need to bring that volume of running down a little bit because you've done 15,000 steps already. One hard truth that we all have to face is about honesty, in particular with yourself. You see, when we're busy, we can often make the claim we just don't have time for parts of the running journey, and it's not usually the running. It's usually the warm-up, the drills, the stretching, the mobility, or the strength work, and it's very rare that it is actually the case.
Is it that you don't have time, or is it that you don't want to have time? Because on any day, if you find yourself doom scrolling on the phone or mindlessly watching TV or YouTube, then that is time that could be utilised. I'm not saying don't do these things if they're your way of winding down. I'm saying don't use the excuse of no time. You could always combine things, more of that later, but you must always be honest. Sometimes procrastination is the brain's way of giving itself a break, and that's okay. No one's here to tell you to be doing things 24/7. I just mean practicing honesty with yourself can help hold you accountable when you want to be. There is time if you want it, most of the time anyway, and then it's up to you to decide if you do want it, whatever is best for you.
Oh my God, we've just done an absolutely monster session. 10 times kilometre repeats at 10k pace. It's brutalised us, we feel amazing, but the hard truth is that when you have a full-time job, progress will be slower than if you didn't. And I know that kind of goes without saying, but I think it's worth saying because then you can zoom out a little bit and have a bit of perspective. You can understand that your progress isn't going to be linear, there's going to be bumps in the road. If you keep showing up like we're doing week on week, if you keep hitting your sessions, yes, you might not make as much progress as if running was the only thing you had to do and you didn't have a job in there, but you are going to make progress. And that's the main thing, and that's what keeps us sticking around for life really, is just knowing we're getting a bit better every day and it doesn't matter that we have to work in between it. Mary's not talking because she's only just finished her final rep.
I'm done.
Another hard truth is that stress doesn't just come from your running when you work full time, and that is a tricky thing to balance because you have your running stress, you have your work stress, you potentially have your life stress, you might have lack of sleep which causes stress. There are a bunch of different ways when you work full time that stress can get you and affect you, and in order to successfully negotiate your way through that, the first thing is just appreciating it. The second thing is finding potential ways to track it. Like for us, it used to be the HRV4 training app, which registers your heart rate variability, which is just a great way to show you if you're stressed or not and whether you're ready for training or not. We now use the Ultrahuman Air Ring, which does the same thing essentially, and by being able to track not just running stress but life stress, we can make better decisions as to whether we go training. So if we have had a particularly hard day and we're supposed to do a particularly hard run, but our heart rate variability is, say, out of where the usual normal zone is, that's our body telling us you're stressed. Could be from work, could be from life, could be from training, but you're stressed. Maybe it's not a hard run, maybe it's an easy run. And if it was an easy run, maybe it's not a run at all. To be able to manage that is, I think, the key to being able to train and work full time at the same time, because stress coming from any angle could potentially tip you over the edge. So finding a way to track all of life's stress rather than just running stress, I think is really important. Here's a hard truth that sucks, but I'm going to tell you the way around it, and it really does suck. You're going to miss some runs. That's life. But the way you get around it is, first of all, be bloody kinder to yourself. You know, that is life. There's swings and roundabouts, there's highs and lows on the life journey and on the running journey, and on some days, no matter how hard you try, you're not going to make runs happen. It's the way it is. So once you've been kind to yourself and you've accepted I've missed a run, here's the second thing you do. You try not to miss 2 runs in a row. Sometimes obviously that's unavoidable if it's actual injury or a long-term illness, but if it is just life, fatigue, stress, give yourself a break, take the run off, make sure you hit the next run with renewed vigour, and then you keep yourself in the game. So just, you know, give yourself a break a little bit, but just not too long. And we've already touched on this one, but a hard truth of running when you have a job is that time can be a non-friend. I don't want to say an enemy, obviously, but what time cannot be is helpful, because you've got a jam-packed day, you've probably got a lot to do, you have to be creative with how you train. And I'm not just talking about the running, because if you are really a runner and you really believe in being a runner for life, you're gonna have to be doing all of the other work around it, like mobility, like strength in the gym, like strength work at home, all of the recovery aspects that you would associate with running. running. They need to be taken care of. So we have a routine where from the moment we wake up, there are moments in our day that are used to achieve what we need as part of our running journey. In the morning, I'm up at 6 AM. I'm doing mobility for the first 15 to 20 minutes before I go and make breakfast. When I get home, maybe for 20 minutes, I'm doing a strengthening routine. I'm making runs happen after work at school. I'm coming straight home and not sitting down and getting the runs done. Sometimes I'm running in the morning, and then before I go to bed, maybe I'm doing my recovery process, leg compressors, grid foam rolling, massage gun, you name it, I'm probably doing it. But I'm being creative with that time to fit it in, because if I don't plan it, if I don't fit it in, I'm gonna be in trouble, and I wanna act like a runner as much as I possibly can so that I can do the thing I love, run.
And the final hard truth, and one we've just negotiated our way through, is that if you are not careful as a runner with a full-time job, running can feel or become a chore. And that's a really sad place to be, to not enjoy what you're doing. So here's some things that we do to make sure it never feels like a chore, although sometimes obviously it does. But different sessions. Oh, we're doing a kilometre repeat session right now, so we're dropping our drinks here for when we stop. Different sessions each week. Keep it nice and interesting. Different distances, different focuses. Like sometimes you were just saying, well, say what you were saying.
Yeah, so we do a run sometimes where it really doesn't matter what the pace is, what the distance is. We go out together and it's like a catch up and just having a good time. And we stop and get one of our favourite drinks on the route and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's almost, we call it date night. But then different places to run, like beaches and terrains, and you know, we just keep it interesting. We try not to do the same things all of the time, and that way it never really feels like a chore, even though we're doing it during a full-time job and a full-time working week. And that's the way we negotiate our way through it.
Thanks for watching. If you got some value out of the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you liked the video, you're definitely gonna like this one, which is just the 9 hard truths of being a runner in general. And some of them are pretty hard truths as well. See you Sunday.